Hello and welcome back to Mr. English Lab. My name is Laura, and I'm here to guide you on your journey to clear, confident, and natural English. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a lesson. Your support truly helps this channel grow. All right, take a deep breath, relax, and let's begin today's session. Have you ever noticed how people listen when you speak? Some voices catch attention easily, while others get lost in the noise. Today, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are standing in a room full of people, and everyone is waiting for you to speak. Your heart might beat faster, your hands might feel a little sweaty, and your mind might feel blank. But here is the truth: your voice is more powerful than you think. Even if you feel small or unsure, your words can move people, inspire them, and make them understand exactly what you want to say. This is the first secret to becoming a better communicator. It is not about using big words or perfect grammar. It is about confidence, clarity, and calmness. Many people think that speaking well is only for smart people or people who have studied English for years. But this is not true. Speaking clearly and confidently is something anyone can learn, step by step. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Sam. Sam was shy. He always avoided talking in class. When his teacher asked him a question, he would stay quiet. He thought, "I am not good at speaking. People will laugh at me." One day, his school had a small debate competition. Sam's teacher noticed his hesitation, but also saw his curiosity. She said, "Sam, I want you to try speaking, even if it is just for 1 minute. You don't need to be perfect. Just speak from your heart." At first, Sam felt nervous. His mind raced. What if I make a mistake? What if I stutter? What if people laugh? But he remembered something very important. His voice is his power. It is his way to show who he is. So he stepped forward. He took a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, and he started speaking. His voice was not loud, but it was clear. He spoke slowly, carefully choosing words. At first, his classmates listened quietly, unsure. But then, as Sam continued, something magical happened. His words made sense. People nodded. Some smiled. He realized that speaking is not about perfection, it is about connection. After that day, Sam felt different. He practiced every day. He read aloud, spoke to friends, and even talked to strangers in small conversations. Each time, he felt more confident. He learned that speaking clearly is like walking on a path. At first, the path is narrow and difficult. But every step you take makes the path wider, easier, and more comfortable. You don't need to run. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to take small, steady steps. The challenge most people face is fear. Fear makes you stop before you even try. You might think, "I am not good enough. I will fail." But here is the secret. Everyone feels fear. The difference is what you do with it. Do you run away? Or do you take one small step? Sam took one small step, and slowly, his confidence grew. Another important lesson is clarity. Speaking clearly is not about speaking fast or using complicated words. It is about making sure your listener can understand you. Slow down. Think about what you want to say. Break your sentences into small pieces. Pause when you need to. Your listener will appreciate it, and you will feel calm. Confidence comes next. Confidence is not born overnight. It grows when you practice, make mistakes, and try again. Each time you speak, you build a little more. Even if your voice shakes, even if you make a small mistake, you are stronger than before. By the end of the story, Sam transformed. From a shy boy who was afraid to speak, he became someone who could share his ideas with clarity and courage. He realized that the most important skill in communication is not perfect English. It is the courage to speak, the patience to listen, and the care to connect. And now, I want you to reflect. Think about one moment when you felt afraid to speak. Maybe it was in class, at work, or with friends. Imagine taking a deep breath and speaking slowly, clearly, with confidence. Imagine people listening, understanding, and even appreciating your words. That feeling is possible for you too. And here is your takeaway. Your voice matters. Your words matter. Each time you speak, you have a chance to improve, connect, and inspire. Start with small steps. Speak slowly. Speak clearly. Speak with courage. Every day, a little progress will turn into great change. Have you ever said something quickly and then wished you could take it back? Maybe you spoke too fast, or your words did not come out as you wanted. This is very normal. Speaking clearly and confidently does not mean talking all the time or saying everything at once. It means thinking first and then speaking. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman named Lena. Lena was very smart and she had many good ideas. But she often felt nervous when she spoke. At work, during meetings, she would see people talking fast and she wanted to join. But the words in her head felt messy. She wanted to say something important, but she ended up saying very little or nothing at all. She felt frustrated. One day, Lena decided to change. She learned a simple rule: pause, think, and then speak. Before saying anything, she took a short moment to organize her thoughts. She imagined the main point she wanted to share. She asked herself, what is the most important thing I want others to understand? Then, she found one or two simple sentences to explain her idea. The first time she tried this, it felt strange. She wanted to speak immediately, but she paused. She took a deep breath. And then she spoke slowly, clearly. Her colleagues listened. They understood her point. They even asked questions because her words were clear. That day, Lena realized a powerful truth. Thinking before you speak gives you control. It makes your words stronger. It gives you time to choose the right words. And it makes you feel calm. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Sometimes, we think that speaking English quickly is good. We want to sound fluent. But speaking too fast without thinking can make your listener confused. Even native speakers pause. They think before they speak. They take time to choose the right words. You can do the same. Another lesson Lena learned is structure. Good communication has a small structure. You can use 3 simple steps. First, start with your main idea. Second, explain it with a short example or reason. Third, finish with a conclusion or feeling. For example, if you want to tell a friend why you like a movie, you can say, I like this movie because the story is exciting. The characters feel real. I feel happy when I watch it. This is clear, short, and easy to understand. Practicing this structure helps your brain organize ideas faster. It also helps your listener follow your words. Lena practiced every day. She spoke to herself in front of a mirror. She recorded her voice and listened. She practiced explaining simple things in 3 steps: what happened, why it is important, and how she feels. Slowly, she felt more confident. Speaking English became easier. Her voice sounded calm. Her words sounded clear. Her friends and colleagues started noticing. They asked her opinion more often because they could understand her. Now, let's reflect. Thinking before you speak is like preparing a small gift. You carefully choose what to include so the person receiving it can enjoy it. If you speak too quickly, the gift may be messy and people may not appreciate it. But if you take time, the gift feels thoughtful and valuable. Your takeaway is simple. Before speaking, pause. Take a deep breath. Think about the main point. Use a small structure to explain your idea. This simple habit will make a huge difference in how people listen to you. It will also make you feel calm and confident. Practice this every day. Start with one small conversation. Maybe with a friend, a family member, or even by yourself. Speak slowly. Organize your thoughts. Speak clearly. Each day, you will notice improvement. And remember, communication is not about perfection. It is about connection. When you speak with thought, your listener feels that you care. They understand your message. And they remember your words. Thinking before you speak is the foundation of confidence. Once you master this, your English will become natural, clear, and strong. Have you ever listened to a speaker and felt their words deeply, even though they were saying something simple? That is the power of voice. Your voice is not just sound. It is an instrument. You can use it to express confidence, emotion, and clarity. Let me tell you a story. There was a boy named Daniel. Daniel was shy, and when he spoke, his voice was soft. People often asked him to repeat words. He felt frustrated. He wanted to speak with confidence, but did not know how. One day, his teacher gave him advice. Daniel, your voice is like an instrument. You can learn to play it well. You can make people listen if you practice tone, pace, and pauses. Daniel was curious. Tone means how your voice rises and falls. Pace is how fast or slow you speak. Pauses are the small breaks that give your listener time to understand. At first, Daniel was nervous. He did not want to sound strange. But he tried. He practiced reading aloud every morning. He emphasized important words. He slowed down when he reached a key point. He paused at the right moment. Slowly, he noticed something amazing. His words became stronger. People listened. They understood him more easily. Daniel felt proud. This practice changed him. He realized that speaking clearly is not only about grammar or vocabulary. It is about how you use your voice. Now, here is a small challenge most learners face. Many people speak too softly, too fast, or without emotion. Listeners can get tired or confused. Using tone, pace, and pauses correctly makes your speech interesting and easy to follow. Imagine saying, "I am so excited about this." If you speak too fast or flat, it sounds ordinary. But if you slow down, raise your tone slightly, and pause before the last word, it becomes powerful. Your listener feels your excitement. Daniel also learned that emotion matters. Your voice shows how you feel. If you speak with confidence, happiness, or curiosity, people will feel it too. This is important because communication is not only about words. It is about connection. Danny L. practiced every day. He recorded his voice and listened carefully. He corrected mistakes gently. He experimented with different ways of saying the same sentence. Slowly, he discovered the rhythm of his voice. He learned that a small pause can make a big difference. For example, if he wanted to tell a story about a surprise, he would pause before the important moment. This created suspense. His listener leaned in, wanting to hear more. Your takeaway is simple. Your voice is your tool. Practice tone, pace, and pauses. Speak slowly. Emphasize key words. Use pauses to give your listener time to understand. Practice emotion. Let your voice show how you feel. It is okay to make mistakes. Every attempt teaches you something new. Reflection is important. Think about how you sound when you speak. Are your words soft, fast, or flat? Imagine yourself speaking with energy, clarity, and calmness. Small changes in your voice make a big difference. Remember, communication is an art. Your voice paints your thoughts for others to see. Daniel's journey shows that anyone can learn this art with practice, patience, and courage. And here is your final thought for this section. Speak with care. Treat your voice as an instrument. Every word has weight. Every pause matters. Every tone tells a story. Practice this, and your English will sound natural, clear, and confident. You will notice people listening more attentively. You will feel calm and proud of your progress. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to speak in a way that makes you feel their energy, even if the words are simple? That is because speaking is not only about words. Your body, your face, and your hands all help your listener understand you. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman named Mia. Mia was learning English, and she wanted to speak confidently. She practiced her words every day. She focused on tone, pace, and pauses. But when she spoke to people, she still felt nervous. Her voice shook, and she often looked down. People listened, but her words did not feel strong. One day, her teacher gave her advice. Mia, speaking is not only about your voice. Your body speaks too. Your face, your hands, and even your posture help people understand you. Speak with your whole self. Mia was curious. She practiced in front of a mirror. She lifted her head. She smiled gently. She moved her hands naturally as she spoke. At first, it felt strange. She felt like she was acting. But slowly, she noticed something amazing. Her words became stronger. She felt more confident. People understood her better. They smiled. They nodded. Her message was clear. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Many people focus only on words. They forget their body language. When you speak with good posture, relaxed hands, and gentle gestures, your listener feels your confidence. You do not need to overact. Simple movements, a smile, and eye contact are enough. Mia learned small but powerful habits. She stood tall, relaxed her shoulders, and looked at the listener when she spoke. She used her hands to show size, direction, or excitement. She smiled when sharing happy thoughts. She nodded to show understanding. Each gesture made her words stronger. Each movement gave her confidence. Your takeaway is simple. Speaking clearly and confidently is a combination of voice and body. Practice in front of a mirror. Notice your posture, your facial expressions, your hand movements. Try to match your voice with your body. If you feel calm and confident inside, it will show outside. Reflection is important. Think about how you communicate every day. Do you slouch or look away? Do your hands stay still, or do they move naturally? Every small adjustment will make your speaking stronger. Mia's transformation shows that confidence grows when your voice and body work together. You do not need to speak perfectly. You do not need fancy words. You only need to practice being aware of yourself, using your voice, and letting your body support your words. Every day, a little practice builds a big difference. And here is your final thought for this section. Speak with your whole self. Let your voice, face, and hands work together. Show your listener who you are. Small gestures, calm posture, and clear words will make your English natural, strong, and confident. You will feel proud. People will listen. Your message will reach them clearly, and each conversation will teach you something new. Have you ever tried to have a conversation, but the other person seemed unclear and you didn't know what to say? Speaking clearly is important, but listening is just as powerful. Listening helps you understand. Choose your words carefully and respond naturally. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Alex. Alex loved learning English. He practiced speaking every day, reading aloud, and recording his voice. But when he talked with friends, he often felt lost. People would speak, and he would try to reply too quickly. Sometimes he said something that did not make sense, and he felt embarrassed. One day, his teacher gave him advice. Alex, good speaking starts with good listening. Pay attention. Hear the words, the feelings, and the pauses. Then respond thoughtfully. Alex decided to try. The next day, he had a conversation with a friend. Instead of replying immediately, he listened carefully. He noticed the words, the emotions, and even small pauses. He took a moment to think, and then he replied slowly and clearly. His friend smiled and said, "I understand you very well." Alex realized that listening first gave him confidence. He felt calm. He spoke naturally. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Many people focus only on speaking. They try to say something quickly and they forget to listen. But listening is a skill you can practice. When you listen carefully, you understand the context, the feelings, and the main ideas. This makes your response stronger and easier. Alex learned simple techniques. First, he focused only on the speaker. He did not think about his reply while listening. He let his mind pay attention fully. Second, he noticed key words and repeated them in his mind. Third, he observed tone, pace, and pauses. Each time he practiced, he felt more confident in responding. Another lesson Alex discovered is the power of small responses. Simple phrases like, "I see," "that is interesting," or "really" show that you are listening. They give you time to think, and they make the conversation natural. You don't need long sentences every time. Listening carefully also improves your pronunciation and rhythm. When you hear how native speakers pause, stress words, and express emotion, you can imitate it. This makes your speaking more natural and confident. Reflection is important. Think about your last conversation in English. Did you listen carefully? Did you respond naturally, or did you feel lost? Practice listening every day. Listen to a short story, a conversation, or even a YouTube video. Pay attention to the words, tone, pauses, and feelings. Then try repeating or shadowing what you hear. This exercise trains both your ears and your voice. Your takeaway is simple. Listening is a secret power of good communication. When you listen carefully, you speak better. You think better. You connect better. Listening is not passive. It is active practice that builds clarity, confidence, and natural flow. Alex's journey shows that listening transforms your speaking. Start with small conversations. Focus fully. Respond naturally. Notice words, tone, and pauses. Every day, your speaking becomes stronger, clearer, and more confident. And here is your final thought for this section. Speak less and listen more at first. Your voice will find the right words. Your confidence will grow. Your English will sound natural. Every conversation becomes a step forward. Have you ever felt nervous before speaking English? Maybe your heart beats fast, your hands shake, and your mind feels empty. This is normal. Everyone feels fear. Even native speakers feel nervous before speaking. The important thing is not to stop because of fear. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman named Sarah. Sarah wanted to speak English confidently. She studied grammar, practiced pronunciation, and memorized vocabulary. But when it came to speaking with strangers, she froze. Her teacher noticed this and said, "Sarah, fear is normal. The key is to speak even when you're afraid." Sarah was surprised. How could she speak while afraid? Her teacher explained a simple idea. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action even when you feel fear. That day, Sarah decided to try. She spoke with a new classmate. At first, her voice was quiet and she stumbled over words. But she continued. She smiled, took deep breaths, and kept speaking. The classmate listened, smiled, and replied kindly. Sarah realized that fear does not stop you from communicating. Only avoiding speaking stops you. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Fear makes you imagine the worst. You might think, "I will make mistakes. People will laugh. I am not good enough." These thoughts make you hesitate. But here is a truth. Mistakes are part of learning. Every small mistake teaches you something new. Sarah learned simple techniques to speak with fear. First, she took deep breaths before speaking. This calms the body and mind. Second, she focused on one small sentence at a time. She did not worry about speaking perfectly. Third, she reminded herself, "I am learning. My words matter, and I can try again." Slowly, she felt more confident. She realized that the more she spoke despite fear, the smaller the fear became. Courage grew with practice. Another lesson is preparation. You do not need to prepare a speech every time, but thinking of a few key sentences or phrases helps. Knowing what you want to say gives you power, even if you are nervous. Reflection is important. Think about a moment when you felt afraid to speak English. Now imagine taking a deep breath, smiling gently, and saying one sentence. Imagine that the listener smiles and understands you. That feeling is possible for you. Your takeaway is simple. Fear is normal. Speaking despite fear builds courage, confidence, and skill. Do not wait to feel perfect. Do not wait to feel ready. Speak now. Start with small conversations, short sentences, and gentle smiles. Each step makes you stronger. Sarah's journey shows that courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Fear does not vanish immediately, but it becomes easier to manage. And here is your final thought for this section. Speak even when you feel afraid. Each attempt is a victory. Each sentence you say is a step forward. Every day you practice, you build confidence. Your English becomes clearer, stronger, and natural. Your voice matters, your words matter, and your courage will grow with each conversation. Have you ever wished you could speak English clearly every day without hesitation? The truth is, confidence and fluency do not come from one lesson or one day of practice. They come from daily habits. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Leo. Leo wanted to speak English confidently, but he often forgot to practice. Some days he studied vocabulary, some days he read aloud, but most days he did nothing. He felt frustrated. One day, his teacher gave him advice. Leo, practice every day. Not for a long time, but consistently. 10 minutes every day is better than 2 hours once a week. Leo decided to follow this advice. He started with small steps. Every morning, he spoke aloud for 5 minutes. He read a short paragraph, then tried to summarize it in his own words. He practiced pronunciation, tone, and pauses. In the evening, he listened to short stories or conversations. He repeated sentences, shadowing the speaker slowly. Gradually, he noticed changes. His words felt smoother. He felt more confident. He did not need to speak perfectly. He only needed to speak consistently. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Many people practice irregularly. They think, I will speak tomorrow or I will study later. But irregular practice makes progress slow. Daily habits, even small ones, make a big difference. Leo also learned another important habit, speaking to real people. He started with friends, then classmates, and sometimes strangers. He asked simple questions, listened carefully, and responded naturally. Each conversation made him stronger. Another habit is reflection. At the end of the day, Leo thought about what he said well and what he could improve. He recorded his voice, listened carefully, and noticed small mistakes. Then he tried again the next day. This cycle of practice, reflection, and improvement helped him grow quickly. Your takeaway is simple. Speak every day. Even 5 to 10 minutes of practice is enough to build confidence. Read aloud, summarize stories, shadow conversations, or speak with friends. Make listening and speaking a daily habit. Reflection is key. Notice what you did well. Notice what you can improve. Small, consistent actions create big changes over time. Imagine yourself after a month of daily practice. Your sentences feel smoother. Your voice is stronger. Your confidence grows. People listen carefully. Conversations feel natural. Your English becomes clearer, easier, and more enjoyable. Daily habits make this possible. Leo's journey shows that progress is not about perfection. It is about consistency. Every day you practice, you build confidence. Every day you speak, you improve clarity. Every day you listen, you learn rhythm and flow. And here is your final thought for this section. Commit to small daily practice. Speak aloud, listen carefully, and reflect on your progress. Each day is a step forward. Your voice grows stronger. Your confidence grows. Your English becomes natural. Your journey to clear, confident speaking is in your hands, one small habit at a time. Have you ever talked to someone and suddenly felt stuck? You did not know what to say next, and the silence felt awkward. This happens to everyone. Speaking confidently is not just about saying sentences. It is about keeping the conversation alive. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman named Emma. Emma could speak English, but she often felt nervous in conversations. She would answer questions, but after a few sentences, she ran out of things to say. One day, her teacher gave her simple advice: ask questions, listen carefully, and respond naturally. Conversations are a dance, not a lecture. Emma decided to try. In her next conversation, she asked small questions. How was your day? What do you like about this movie? Can you tell me more about that? She listened carefully, smiled, and responded. Something amazing happened. The other person started sharing more. The conversation became smooth. Emma felt relaxed. She realized that asking questions makes conversations easier. It takes the pressure off you. Another lesson is using simple sentences. You do not need long, perfect sentences. Short sentences work better. For example, instead of saying, "I find that movie extremely enjoyable because of its outstanding cinematography and excellent acting," you can say, "I liked the movie. The story was exciting and the actors were very good." Short, clear sentences make you confident and easy to understand. Emma also learned the power of connection. Conversations are not just words. They're about listening, smiling, nodding, and showing interest. A small smile or nod makes your listener feel understood. This builds trust and keeps the conversation flowing naturally. Reflection is important. Think about your last conversation. Did you listen carefully? Did you ask questions? Did you respond naturally? Practicing these small habits makes a huge difference. Another tip is to use phrases that show attention, like "I see, really," "That's interesting," or "Tell me more." These phrases give you time to think and show your interest. Emma practiced every day. She had short chats with friends, family, and classmates. She asked questions, listened, and responded. Each conversation became easier. Her confidence grew. She realized that conversation is a skill you can practice, just like reading or writing. Your takeaway is simple: to keep a conversation flowing, ask questions, listen carefully, respond naturally, and use short sentences. Show your interest with gestures, smiles, and small phrases. This makes your English sound natural, clear, and confident. Remember, conversation is not about perfection. It is about connection. Emma's journey shows that even small daily practice in real conversations builds fluency. She became confident, not because she spoke perfectly, but because she could listen, respond, and connect naturally. And here is your final thought for this section. See conversations as a chance to connect, not a test. Ask, listen, respond. Every conversation is practice. Every conversation builds confidence. Every conversation makes your English clearer, smoother, and more enjoyable. Have you ever made a mistake while speaking English and felt embarrassed? Maybe you mispronounced a word, used the wrong tense, or said something that sounded strange. This happens to everyone, even native speakers. The important thing is not to fear mistakes, but to learn from them. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Tom. Tom loved English. He practiced every day, but he was afraid of making mistakes. When he spoke with friends or teachers, he stayed quiet. He worried, if I make a mistake, people will laugh at me. One day, his teacher said, "Tom, mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake is a step forward. Do not fear them." Tom decided to try. The next day, he spoke with a classmate. He made a small mistake with a verb. Instead of saying, I have eaten, he said, I has eaten. The classmate smiled and gently corrected him. Tom realized it was not the end of the world. He laughed and tried again. Slowly, he noticed something amazing. Every mistake he made helped him remember the correct form. Every small correction made him stronger. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Fear of mistakes stops you from speaking. You might think, I will wait until I am perfect. But perfection comes from practice, not waiting. Mistakes are your teachers. They show you where to improve. Tom learned simple techniques to handle mistakes gracefully. First, he accepted that mistakes happen. Everyone makes them. Second, he listened carefully to corrections and repeated the correct form. Third, he tried again in the next conversation. Slowly, he became confident. Another lesson is keeping a positive mindset. Instead of thinking, I am bad at English, think, I am learning. Each mistake helps me improve. Reflection is important. Think about the last time you made a mistake while speaking English. Did you feel embarrassed and stop, or did you learn from it? Practicing this mindset helps you speak more freely and confidently. Your takeaway is simple. Mistakes are natural. They are part of learning. Accept them, learn from them, and try again. Speaking English confidently means embracing mistakes and using them as stepping stones. Tom's journey shows that courage grows when you face mistakes with a smile. His English improved because he was not afraid to speak and learn. And here is your final thought for this section. Speak freely, make mistakes, learn, and repeat. Each mistake brings you closer to clarity, confidence, and fluency. Your voice matters. Your words matter. And every attempt you make strengthens your English for the future. Have you ever spoken in front of a group and felt your hands shake or your voice tremble? Many people feel nervous when speaking to more than one person. But speaking confidently in public is possible with practice and preparation. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman named Nina. Nina could speak English well in one-on-one conversations, but she felt terrified when speaking in class or at meetings. She thought, everyone will notice my mistakes. I will look foolish. One day, her teacher gave her a small challenge. Nina, prepare a short 2-minute talk about something simple, like your favorite hobby. Speak to the class. You do not need to be perfect. Just speak clearly and confidently. Nina felt nervous, but decided to try. She prepared her sentences carefully. She practiced speaking slowly, using tone, pauses, and gestures. She imagined the listeners smiling and listening carefully. The day of her talk came. Nina took a deep breath, smiled gently, and spoke. Her voice was soft at first, but she focused on clarity. She used short sentences and gestures naturally. She paused at key points. Slowly, she noticed that her classmates were listening. They nodded, smiled, and seemed interested. When she finished, they clapped. Nina felt proud. She realized that speaking in public is not about perfection. It is about preparation, practice, and courage. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Fear makes people avoid public speaking. But avoiding it does not build confidence. Confidence grows when you try, even in small steps. Nina learned simple strategies to speak confidently in groups. First, start small. Practice in front of a friend, a family member, or even a mirror. Second, prepare short sentences or key points. Third, focus on clear pronunciation, slow pace, and small gestures. Fourth, use pauses to help you think and to keep the audience engaged. Reflection is important. Think about a situation where you will speak in front of a group. Imagine yourself prepared, calm, and clear. Visualize the audience listening carefully. This mental rehearsal reduces fear. Another lesson is that mistakes are natural. If you forget a word or stumble, pause, smile, and continue. The audience usually does not notice small mistakes. Your confidence comes from continuing, not from being perfect. Your takeaway is simple. Public speaking is a skill, just like any other. Practice, prepare, and take small steps. Start with short talks. Speak slowly and clearly. Use gestures and pauses. Smile and maintain eye contact. Every time you practice, you build confidence. Nina's journey shows that anyone can become confident in public speaking. Small, consistent practice turns fear into courage. Each talk, no matter how short, strengthens your voice and your clarity. And here is your final thought for this section. See public speaking as a chance to share, not to impress. Focus on connection, clarity, and courage. Each word you speak builds confidence, fluency, and clarity. With every attempt, your English grows stronger, your voice becomes natural, and your confidence becomes unshakable. Have you ever listened to someone tell a story and felt completely drawn in? Stories are powerful. They make your words interesting, easy to understand, and memorable. Learning to speak through stories is one of the best ways to become a confident communicator. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Ben. Ben could speak English clearly, but his conversations were often short and boring. People listened politely, but he noticed they did not get excited or remember much of what he said. One day, his teacher said, "Ben, speaking is more than words. Stories make your message alive. Use examples, personal experiences, and emotions. People will understand you better and remember your words." Ben was curious and decided to try. He thought about a simple story from his life. It was about a small challenge he faced while learning to ride a bicycle. He practiced telling the story slowly. He included feelings, pauses, and gestures. On the day he shared it with friends, he noticed something amazing. They listened carefully. They laughed, nodded, and asked questions. His story created connection. His words felt natural and confident. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. When people speak English, they often focus only on grammar and vocabulary. They forget the power of storytelling. But stories help you organize sentences, use emotion, and practice pauses and emphasis naturally. Ben also learn simple. Second, include emotions. How did you feel during the experience? Third, add small details that make the story interesting. Fourth, practice speaking slowly, pausing at important points. These simple steps make storytelling easier and natural. Reflection is important. Think about a small story from your life. Maybe a challenge, a funny moment, or something exciting. Try telling it aloud. Speak slowly. Show your feelings with your voice and gestures. Notice how it feels to connect with your listener. Your takeaway is simple. Stories make your English alive. They help you practice clear sentences, natural pauses, and confident voice. Storytelling also builds courage because every story is personal and real. Ben's journey shows that using stories transforms conversations. Even short, simple stories make your speaking engaging and memorable. And here is your final thought for this section. See every conversation as a story. Share experiences, feelings, and small details. Your words become interesting. Your voice becomes confident. Your English flows naturally. Every story you tell strengthens clarity, connection, and courage. Storytelling is not only for special occasions. It is a tool you can use every day to speak clearly, confidently, and naturally. Have you ever listened to someone speaking English and wished you could sound the same? You can with a technique called shadowing. Shadowing means listening carefully and speaking at the same time, repeating words, tone, and pauses. It is one of the fastest ways to improve fluency, pronunciation, and confidence. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman named Lily. Lily wanted to speak English naturally, but her sentences often sounded broken. She practiced reading aloud and speaking with friends, but she still felt slow. One day, her teacher suggested shadowing. Lily, choose a short audio or video. Listen carefully. Repeat exactly what you hear. Copy the tone, pace, and pauses. Do this every day. It will improve your fluency quickly. Lily was curious and decided to try. She started with a short story. At first, she stumbled. Some words were difficult. Her voice was not smooth. But she did not give up. She listened again and repeated. Slowly, she noticed improvement. Her sentences became smoother. Her voice sounded more natural. Her confidence grew. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Reading aloud or practicing alone is helpful, but shadowing trains your brain, ears, and voice at the same time. It helps you hear English as it is spoken and speak naturally. Lily also learned some simple techniques for shadowing. First, start with short sentences. Don't rush. Listen carefully and repeat slowly. Second, pay attention to tone, emphasis, and pauses. Try to sound like the speaker. Third, repeat the same audio multiple times until it feels natural. Fourth, gradually increase speed and length as your fluency improves. Reflection is important. Think about how you sound when you speak English. Do you speak slowly, clearly, and with natural pauses? Shadowing helps you notice and correct your mistakes. It builds confidence because your voice becomes familiar with natural English rhythm. Your takeaway is simple. Practice shadowing every day. Listen, repeat, and copy the tone, pace, and pauses. Even 5 to 10 minutes every day will make your English smoother, more confident, and natural. Lily's journey shows that consistent practice with shadowing transforms speaking. Her pronunciation improved. Her sentences became fluent. Her confidence grew. And here is your final thought for this section. Speak while you listen. Let your ears guide your voice. Repeat, practice, and enjoy the process. Every day of shadowing builds fluency, confidence, and clarity. Your English becomes natural, easy, and enjoyable. Have you ever imagined yourself speaking English naturally in real life, at work, school, or with friends, and felt nervous? This is normal. Speaking confidently in real situations is the ultimate goal. It is where all your practice, stories, shadowing, and courage come together. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man named Jason. Jason had practiced English for months. He read aloud, shadowed conversations, used stories, and built small habits every day. He knew grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. But when he faced a real situation, talking to a new colleague, he felt nervous. His hands shook slightly, and his heart beat fast. Jason remembered all he had learned. He took a deep breath, smiled, and started with a simple question. "Hi, how was your day?" His colleague smiled and replied. Jason listened carefully, responded naturally, and even added a small story about his morning. Each time he spoke, he remembered to pause, use his tone, and show gestures. Slowly, he noticed something amazing. The conversation flowed naturally. He felt calm. He spoke clearly. His confidence grew with each sentence. Now, here's the challenge most learners face. Real-life conversations are unpredictable. You cannot plan every sentence. You may make mistakes. You may forget words. But this is normal. Confidence comes from combining preparation, practice, courage, and awareness. Jason used simple strategies for real-life situations. First, start small. Talk to friends, classmates, or colleagues. Second, focus on clarity, not perfection. Speak slowly, clearly, and use short sentences. Third, listen carefully and respond naturally. Fourth, embrace mistakes. Every mistake teaches you something new. Fifth, use stories, gestures, and pauses to make your words engaging. Reflection is important. Think about your next real conversation. Imagine yourself calm, confident, and clear. Imagine listening carefully, responding naturally, and connecting with your listener. Each practice step prepares you for real-life situations. Your takeaway is simple. Real confidence comes from practice, courage, and connection. Speaking English in real life is not about perfect grammar or advanced words. It is about clarity, courage, listening, and connection. Jason's journey shows that every small step matters. Each habit, each story, each shadowing session prepares you to speak naturally in real life. And here is your final thought. Take action now. Speak with friends, family, classmates, or even strangers. Use the skills you have learned: clear sentences, tone, pauses, stories, listening, and courage. Every conversation is practice. Every conversation builds confidence. Your English becomes fluent, natural, and strong. Your voice matters. Your words matter. Your confidence grows with each attempt. By combining all the lessons you have learned, you can speak English clearly, confidently, and naturally in any real-life situation. Remember, every small step forward is a big step toward becoming confident communicator. Start today, practice every day, and enjoy your journey. Your transformation is in your hands. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a routine that does not make you happy? Maybe you wake up, do the same things, and go to bed feeling tired, frustrated, or even a little sad. I want you to imagine this with me. Picture a morning where your alarm rings and you press snooze again and again. You feel heavy, almost like your bed is holding you down. You know you have work, school, or chores to do, but your mind feels slow and your body feels lazy. This is where many of us start each day, without thinking about the habits that keep us trapped. We often do things automatically, without asking ourselves if they are really good for us. But what if I told you that breaking just one small bad habit can begin a big change in your life? Today, we are going to talk about habits, how they form, why we struggle to break them, and how you can start living with purpose, step by step, one small choice at a time. Habits are like invisible roads in our minds. Some roads are smooth and helpful, like brushing your teeth or drinking water every morning. Some roads are bumpy and dangerous, like scrolling on your phone for hours, eating junk food, or saying negative things to yourself. The tricky part is that our brain loves comfort. It wants to stay on the old roads because it feels safe. Breaking a habit can feel scary because your brain thinks you are leaving safety behind. But here is the truth. The safety you feel from old habits is often an illusion. It feels safe, but it keeps you from growing, from feeling alive, and from achieving the things you really want. I want to tell you a story about a young man named Tom. Tom was smart, kind, and full of potential, but he had a problem. Every morning, he would hit snooze 3, 4, sometimes 5 times. Then he would rush through breakfast, skip his exercise, and start the day feeling tired and stressed. He wanted to be healthier. He wanted to focus on his work. He wanted to feel proud of himself. But every morning, the old habit of sleeping late and rushing the day won. One night, Tom was scrolling on his phone late at night, as he always did. He saw a message from a friend. Life is too short to wait. Start today. Something inside him clicked. He felt a small shock in his heart. He realized that he had been waiting for the right time to change, but the right time never comes. Change must start now. That night, Tom decided something very simple. He would wake up 10 minutes earlier the next day. Just 10 minutes. That small decision seemed almost nothing, but it was the first crack in the wall of his old habits. The next morning, when the alarm rang, Tom's hand reached for the snooze button as usual. But then he remembered the message and he made a tiny choice. He got up. Just like that, he stood on his feet, took a deep breath, and felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: control. He could choose, even in a small way, the direction of his day. This small act started a chain reaction. He made breakfast slowly, enjoying the taste instead of rushing. He took a short walk outside, feeling the fresh air on his face. He smiled at the sunlight, noticing how bright it was, how alive the world seemed. This was not a big change yet, but it was a beginning. And this is how all change starts, with a small step, a small decision, and a little courage. Today, I want you to ask yourself, what is one small habit you can break, or one small habit you can start that will make your day better? Maybe it is waking up on time. Maybe it is drinking water first thing in the morning. Maybe it is reading a few pages of a book instead of scrolling your phone. It does not have to be big. It just has to start. The important thing is to notice your choices. Notice when you follow old habits and when you choose new ones. Every time you choose differently, you strengthen a new road in your brain. Every time you take a small positive step, you tell yourself, I am in charge of my life. The first time you break a bad habit, it feels strange, almost uncomfortable. Your brain will resist. That is normal. But remember Tom. Remember how he started with 10 minutes. The discomfort is temporary, but the reward lasts. It grows slowly, like a tree. A tree does not grow in a day. It grows with water, sun, and patience. Your new habits grow the same way. You will stumble, you will fall, and that is okay. What matters is that you keep choosing. Keep taking small steps. Keep waking up to change. Life does not ask for perfection. It asks for presence. It asks for your attention. It asks for your courage to make small changes every day. Today, right now, think about your morning, your evening, your habits. Notice one small thing you want to change. Write it down. Say it aloud. Decide to start. Because change is not magic. Change is choice. And every day you make a choice, you are creating a new story. A story where you are stronger, healthier, and more alive. A story where you break your bad habits, step by step, and live with purpose. And that story begins with just one moment. One choice. One breath. One step. Are you ready to take it? Have you ever asked yourself why you keep doing things you know are not good for you? Maybe you want to eat healthy, but you reach for chips. Maybe you want to study, but you spend hours on your phone. Maybe you want to sleep early, but you stay awake watching videos. Why do we repeat the same habits, even when we know they hurt us? The answer is simple and surprising at the same time. Habits are stored in a part of your brain called the automatic pilot. This part of the brain loves comfort and repeats actions without thinking. It does not care if the habit is good or bad. It only cares about routine. Think about it like a path in a forest. When you walk the same path every day, it becomes clear and easy to follow. But if you try to make a new path, it is hard. You have to move branches, step over stones, and push through the dirt. That is exactly what happens when you try to change a habit. Your brain resists the new path because it wants the easy, familiar way. I want to tell you a story about Maria. Maria loved drawing, and she dreamed of becoming an artist. But every day, she would sit down and check her phone instead of picking up her pencils. She felt frustrated and sad because she wanted to draw so much, but she could not start. One day, she realized something. She realized that she had trained her brain to follow the path of distraction. Every notification, every message, every video pulled her away from her dream. But she also realized something else. If she could train her brain to follow distraction, she could train it to follow creativity too. She just needed a plan. Maria decided to start very small. She would draw for 5 minutes every day. Just 5 minutes. She set a timer. She kept her pencils on the table ready. She promised herself she would not check her phone during those 5 minutes. At first, it was hard. Her mind said, "Go check your phone." You're tired. 5 minutes is nothing. But she kept drawing. 5 minutes became 10. 10 became 15. Soon, drawing was no longer a struggle. It became natural. Maria learned something important. The brain is not your enemy. The brain is a tool. It learns through repetition. If you repeat a habit, good or bad, it becomes automatic. That is why small, simple actions are so powerful. You do not need to make huge changes at once. Small choices create strong new paths in your mind. Every day you practice, the path gets easier, the habit gets stronger, and the old bad habit loses power. Now, let's think about another habit many of us have: negative thinking. Negative thoughts are habits too. You may catch yourself thinking, I am not good enough, or I can't do this. These thoughts repeat automatically, just like old behaviors. But here is the good news. You can train your mind to think differently. You can replace negative thoughts with small positive actions and statements. You can say, I am learning. I am growing. I can take one step today. Just like Maria, the first steps are small. They feel almost invisible. But over time, they become a new way of living. This is the key to breaking bad habits. You do not fight your brain with willpower alone. You guide your brain, step by step, habit by habit. You create tiny victories. You celebrate small wins. And slowly, you feel the change inside you. The old habits do not disappear immediately. Sometimes they come back. Sometimes they whisper in your mind. But now you are stronger. Now you have tools. Now you know that habits are like paths, and you can choose which path to follow. Today, I want you to notice one small habit you want to change. It could be anything: waking up on time, reading more, eating healthier, moving your body, or being more kind to yourself. Write it down. Make a plan for just 5 minutes. Just a small, simple step. Because this is how transformation begins. One choice. One step. One small habit at a time. And remember Maria. She became an artist not because she drew all day from the beginning, but because she started. She started small every day. She repeated the action. She created a new path in her brain. And you can do the same. You have the power to guide your mind, to choose your habits, and to start living with purpose. All it takes is awareness, small steps, and patience. Life is not about perfection. It is about progress. And progress begins with understanding why you repeat habits and choosing, consciously, to do something different. Each day is an opportunity. Each moment is a choice. Each small action is a step toward the life you want to live. So today, take a moment to notice your habits. Choose one small change. Start now. You do not need a big plan. You do not need a perfect system. You only need one small action, repeated every day, and soon you will see a path opening before you, a path toward freedom, purpose, and happiness. Have you ever noticed how small decisions can change your whole day? Sometimes, we think change must be huge. We imagine big plans, dramatic transformations, and instant results. But real change rarely works that way. Real change begins with small, simple choices, repeated again and again. Let me tell you a story about a man named Daniel. Daniel wanted to be healthy. He wanted to lose weight, have more energy, and feel proud of himself. But he had many bad habits. He skipped breakfast, ate late at night, and avoided exercise. Every Monday, he promised himself, this week, I will be better. But by Wednesday, he was back to the old habits. One day, Daniel had an experience that changed everything. He was walking in a park when he saw a child struggling to ride a bicycle. The child fell, got up, and tried again. And again. Each time, the child learned a little, improved a little, and after some time, was riding freely. Daniel watched and thought, this is how change works. Step by step. Fall and get up. Small choices repeated. That night, Daniel made a simple plan. He decided he would walk for 10 minutes every day. That was it. 10 minutes. Not an hour, not 2 hours, just 10 minutes. The next morning, he put on his shoes and walked around the block. It felt small. It felt easy. But it was a choice that broke the pattern of doing nothing. Daniel kept this habit for a week. 10 minutes became 15, then 20. Soon, he wanted to walk more. He started enjoying the sun, the fresh air, and the feeling of movement. His small choice had grown into a new habit. And then he applied the same principle to other areas of his life. He started eating one health. Why meal a day? He wrote one paragraph in his journal. He smiled at someone on the street. Each action was small, but together, they built a life that felt different, better, and more purposeful. This is the power of small choices. You do not need to change everything at once. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to make one small choice right now and another choice tomorrow. Over time, these choices add up. They become new habits. They create a new life. Now, let's think about your own life. What is one small choice you can make today? Maybe it is drinking water instead of soda. Maybe it is standing up and stretching. Maybe it is sending a message to a friend or family member to show you care. Whatever it is, it does not matter how small it feels. What matters is that it is different from your old habits and it moves you toward your goals. Breaking bad habits is not only about stopping something, it is also about starting something. Start a new habit. Start a small action. Start a positive thought. Start a tiny step that moves you forward. And each time you choose differently, you are building strength. You are proving to yourself that you are in control. That is freedom. That is living with purpose. Sometimes, change feels scary because the old habits are comfortable. The old routines feel safe, even if they are not good for you. But imagine a life where you wake up and make choices that feel good, that make your day brighter, that bring you closer to your dreams. That life is waiting for you. And it starts with small steps. Just like Daniel, you can take one small action today. And tomorrow, take another. Soon, these small choices grow. They create momentum. They make your brain stronger, your body healthier, and your mind clearer. You will feel proud. You will feel alive. You will feel like the person you always wanted to be. And here is the most important part. Small choices are not weak. They are powerful. They are the bricks of a strong, meaningful life. Every time you choose to act differently, you change your story. You rewrite your future. You break the chain of old habits. You open the door to a new life. Life is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about using the moment you have. Each breath, each second, each small choice matters. So today, take one small action. It can be simple. It can be easy. But it must be different from yesterday. And then tomorrow, take another. And the day after that, another. Small steps, repeated over time, create change that lasts. Small choices are your power. Small choices are your freedom. Small choices are the path to living with purpose. Have you ever tried to change a habit only to fail and feel frustrated? Maybe you promised yourself you would wake up early, exercise, or eat better, but then one day you slipped. You stayed in bed, skipped the gym, or ate something unhealthy. It happens to everyone. Change is not a straight line. Life is full of twists, turns, and unexpected moments. And that is okay. What matters is how you respond when setbacks happen. Let me tell you a story about Sarah. Sarah wanted to quit biting her nails. It was a habit she had since childhood. She tried many times. She would do well for a few days, then one stressful moment, she would bite again. Each time she failed, she felt disappointed and thought, I can't do this. I'm hopeless. But one day, she decided to look at her habit differently. She realized that every time she slipped, it was not a failure, it was information. She learned when she felt stressed, when she was nervous, or when she was bored, she was more likely to bite her nails. That was useful knowledge. It showed her exactly when she needed extra attention. So Sarah made a plan. She kept her hands busy with a stress ball. She noticed her feelings when she wanted to bite. And she celebrated every small victory, every hour, every day, every week without biting. Slowly, over time, her habit changed. Not because she was perfect, but because she understood setbacks were part of the process. Every setback is an opportunity to learn. Every slip is a chance to notice what triggers your habits. And every time you get back on track, you strengthen your ability to choose differently. Let's think about your life. Maybe you want to stop checking your phone too much. Maybe you want to eat healthier. Maybe you want to be more patient with yourself. You will face moments where old habits return. That is normal. It does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you have failed. It only means you are human. And being human is about learning, growing, and choosing again. Another important thing is self-compassion. When you are kind to yourself, change becomes easier. Instead of saying, I failed again, you can say, I noticed my habit. I can choose differently next time. This small shift in mindset changes everything. It takes the pressure off and opens the door to progress. Let me tell you about Tom again. Remember Tom from the first section? He started waking up 10 minutes earlier. Some mornings, he slept in by mistake. Some mornings, he forgot his plan. But each time, he did not give up. He started again the next day. He learned to be patient with himself. He learned that small steps, repeated consistently, lead to lasting change. Facing setbacks also teaches you resilience. Resilience is the ability to continue, even when things are hard. Every time you get back on track, you practice resilience. And over time, resilience becomes a habit too, a habit of courage, patience, and persistence. Imagine your life like climbing a mountain. Some days, the path is smooth. Other days, the rocks are steep, the wind is strong, and your legs feel tired. But if you keep moving, even slowly, you will reach higher. Every setback is like a small rock on the path. You step over it, you learn from it, and you continue. You do not stop. You do not give up. You keep climbing. This is how habits change. This is how purpose grows. This is how life transforms. Setbacks are not signs of failure. They're signs of growth. They're opportunities to notice, adjust, and move forward. So today, think about a habit you want to change. Think about the moments when you may struggle. Plan for them. Notice them. And when they come, respond with patience, understanding, and small action. Choose again. Step again. Keep moving. Because living with purpose is not about perfection. It is about persistence. It is about courage. It is about showing up for yourself again and again, no matter what. Every setback you face is a chance to become stronger, wiser, and more determined. Every time you rise after a fall, you prove that you are capable of change. And that, my friend, is the true power of breaking bad habits and starting a life filled with purpose. Have you ever noticed how small actions repeated every day can suddenly lead to big results? At first, it may feel like nothing is changing. You take tiny steps and the progress seems invisible. But if you keep going day by day, week by week, you start to feel a shift. Life begins to move in a different direction. Let me tell you about a man named Alex. Alex wanted to be more productive, but he struggled with procrastination. He would plan his day, write lists, and promise himself he would work hard. But by noon, he was distracted, tired, or scrolling on his phone. One day, Alex decided to try a new approach. Instead of trying to change everything at once, he focused on just one thing, starting his day with 5 minutes of planning. 5 minutes. That was it. He wrote down 3 simple tasks he wanted to complete. Then he chose the easiest one to start with. That day, he completed the first task. It felt small, almost insignificant, but it created momentum. The next day, he planned for 5 minutes again. This time, he completed 2 tasks. Over a week, his small habit of planning and starting created a rhythm. His confidence grew. His energy grew. He began to feel in control of his life. And this is how momentum works. Momentum is not a sudden explosion of change. It is the gentle, continuous effect of small actions repeated consistently. Just like a ball rolling down a hill, it starts slowly, almost unnoticed. But as it keeps moving, it gathers speed. And before you know it, the ball is rolling faster, carrying you forward. Daily habits are the fuel for this momentum. When you choose to do small positive actions every day, you create a pattern of success. You train your brain to expect growth. You train your mind to seek purpose. And you begin to live intentionally, rather than drifting through life. Think about your own life. What is one small habit you can do consistently every day? Maybe it is drinking water first thing in the morning. Maybe it is reading a few pages of a book. Maybe it is taking a short walk, meditating, or writing down 3 things you are grateful for. The key is consistency. The key is repetition. The key is small actions that build over time. Let me tell you about another habit, gratitude. Practicing gratitude may feel small or even silly at first. You might think, how can writing 3 things I am thankful for change my life? But over time, it shifts your perspective. You notice the positive things around you. You feel lighter, happier, and more motivated. You begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles. This is the power of small habits combined with momentum. They are like tiny drops of water that slowly fill a bucket. At first, it seems slow, but eventually, the bucket overflows. And that overflow becomes your new life, your new mindset, your new energy, your new purpose. Alex understood this. He started with planning. Then he added exercise, reading, and journaling. Each small habit built on the others. Momentum grew. His confidence grew. His life began to feel meaningful. And the best part? He realized that living with purpose was not about big changes or instant results. It was about showing up for himself every day in small ways and trusting the process. Today, you can start building momentum too. Choose one small habit. Do it every day. Notice the change it brings. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it seems. And tomorrow, repeat it. Day by day, these small actions create a force that carries you forward, making change easier, more natural, and more joyful. Remember, momentum is not magic. It is consistency. It is patience. It is the result of small actions repeated with intention. And as your momentum grows, you begin to see what is possible. You begin to feel alive. You begin to live with purpose. So today, start small. Do one thing consistently. Watch as your life begins to shift. Build momentum and let it carry you toward the life you have always wanted, a life full of energy, purpose, and freedom from bad habits. Have you ever wondered why some people keep going no matter how hard life gets, while others give up easily? The answer often lies in mindset. Your mindset is the way you think about yourself, your habits, and your possibilities. It shapes your actions, your choices, and your life. Let me tell you about a young woman named Emma. Emma wanted to be more confident. She wanted to speak in public, take on new challenges, and live a life she loved. But every time she tried something new, fear would stop her. She thought, I am not ready. I can't do this. Maybe it's too hard. Emma realized that fear was just a habit of thought. She had trained her mind to focus on doubts and worries instead of possibilities. And she also realized something powerful. If she could train her mind to fear, she could train her mind to believe. So Emma began small. Each morning, she said a simple phrase to herself, I can try. I am learning. I am growing. She wrote it down. She repeated it slowly. At first, it felt strange. Her mind resisted. But she kept practicing. Soon, she noticed a change. She started to feel stronger. She started to take small risks. She started to speak up, even when she felt nervous. And each time she did, her confidence grew. This is the power of mindset. The way you think can limit you, or it can free you. It can make change feel impossible, or it can make it feel natural. And the good news is, mindset is a habit too. You can train it. You can practice it. You can grow it, just like you grow any other habit. Let's think about motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired, and some days you don't. But if your mindset is strong, you can act even when motivation is low. That is the difference between temporary effort and lasting change. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people want to exercise. One person waits to feel motivated. They often skip workouts because motivation is not constant. The other person focuses on habit and mindset. They may not feel motivated every day, but they act anyway. They trust the process. They show up. And over time, they succeed. The key is to focus on what you can control, your actions, your thoughts, your choices. You cannot control every feeling, every event, or every outcome. But you can control how you respond. You can choose courage instead of fear. You can choose action instead of waiting. You can choose purpose instead of drift. Another important part of mindset is self-belief. You may have made mistakes. You may have failed before. But that does not define you. You are not your mistakes. You are your actions, your choices, and your willingness to grow. Think about Tom, Maria, Daniel, and Alex. They all started small. They all faced challenges. They all made mistakes. But they believed in themselves enough to take the next step every day. And that belief became stronger over time. That is why mindset matters. It turns small actions into progress. It turns failures into lessons. It turns habits into a life of purpose. Today, I want you to notice your thoughts. Notice when your mind says, I can't, it's too hard, or maybe later. And gently, slowly, replace those thoughts with small phrases of encouragement. I can try. I am learning. I am growing. Repeat them. Believe them. And then act. Because mindset is not just thinking positively. Mindset is choosing to act, even when it is hard. Mindset is training yourself to see possibility, not fear. Mindset is what allows you to break bad habits, build new habits, and live a life full of meaning. So today, choose your mindset. Choose courage. Choose persistence. Choose purpose. And remember, each small thought, each small action, and each small choice builds the foundation of a life you can be proud of. Wow! There was a lot of useful English today. I hope you found these phrases helpful and that you're excited to start using them in your daily conversations. Remember, the key to speaking English confidently is practice, practice, and more practice. If you enjoyed today's lesson, make sure to like this video and share it with your friends who are learning English too. And don't forget to subscribe to Mr. English Lab and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video that helps you speak naturally and confidently. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and tell me which phrase you liked the most today, or share a sentence using one of the phrases we learned. I read all your comments and I'm excited to see your progress. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep practicing, stay confident, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.